Imagination. That single word has built more fortunes, launched more revolutions, and solved more problems than any amount of money or raw intelligence ever could. Napoleon Hill called imagination the workshop of the mind, the invisible place where ideas take shape, dreams are born, and ordinary people become extraordinary. Without imagination, progress stalls. With it, even the impossible bends to your will. Let's get something straight. Imagination isn't the exclusive property of artists or inventors. Every business leader, every parent, every entrepreneur who's ever turned a problem into an opportunity has relied on imagination, whether they realized it or not. It's not just daydreaming, it's disciplined creativity. It's the ability to see things not as they are, but as they could be. Take a look around at every product you use, every service you enjoy, every piece of technology that makes your life easier. All of it started as a spark in someone's mind, a what if, that refused to die. That's imagination at work. The Wright brothers imagined humans flying. Edison imagined lighting the world at the flip of a switch. Countless men and women, unknown to history, imagined better lives for their families and created quiet revolutions in kitchens, classrooms, and small town shops. But here's the thing. Most people leave their imagination to chance. They treat it like a faucet. Some days it flows, on others it runs dry. Napoleon Hill teaches us to harness imagination on purpose. Make it a daily practice, not a random event. Sit with problems, ask new questions, wonder about alternatives. What if there's a better way? What if the limits you see aren't limits at all? Imagination isn't about fantasy. It's about building bridges from what is to what could be. It's the raw material of innovation, of wealth, of change. When you develop your imagination, you make yourself valuable because you see possibilities others miss, and you're bold enough to chase them. So let's dive deep. Let's explore how to awaken, train, and unleash your imagination until it becomes your most profitable asset. The world is full of challenges, but it's even more full of people who dared to imagine something better. Make the decision now. Your mind is the workshop, your ideas are the tools, and your imagination is the blueprint for the future you want to build. The true power of imagination is that it lets you travel beyond your present circumstances, no matter how limited they might seem. You don't need money, connections, or a perfect track record to use this gift. You need only the willingness to close your eyes, let go of the how, and ask yourself, what if? It's the mental playground where you're allowed to dream without boundaries and build without permits. Every great achievement, every leap forward began with someone daring to picture a world that didn't exist yet. Think about the young man with no formal education who sits at his kitchen table and sketches out a business plan that could change his entire neighborhood. Or the mother who, tired of struggling with a household chore, dreams up a new invention in the quiet hours after the kids have gone to sleep. These are not fantasies, they're the seeds of progress, planted in the fertile ground of imagination. But here's the challenge. Most people put their imagination to work only on their problems, not their possibilities. They imagine worst-case scenarios, failures, setbacks. They let fear run wild in their mental workshop and wonder why their life feels stuck. Napoleon Hill urges us to flip the switch to use imagination as a tool for opportunity, not just survival. The mind is a powerful engine, but it needs direction. If you give it a vision of what's possible, it starts working on ways to make that vision real. Your imagination is not just for escaping reality, it's for creating new realities. You can use it to solve problems, design new products, launch a business, or simply find a new approach to an old challenge. And imagination is contagious. When you start to speak your ideas out loud, you attract others who are looking for possibility. You become a source of inspiration and energy. People want to be around those who see more than what's in front of them, who believe in what could be. That's leadership in its purest form. Never underestimate the doors your imagination can open. The biggest difference between people who move the world and those who watch it move is that the dreamers had the courage to take their ideas seriously. They didn't wait for permission, they didn't wait for proof. They just started building first in their minds, then in the real world. So tonight, when the noise dies down, let your imagination off the leash. Ask yourself not just what is, but what could be. Your greatest asset is not in your pocket, but in your mind. Make a habit of using it, and watch your world begin to change. Imagination is your secret superpower in a world that often rewards routine. Too many people get stuck thinking there's only one way forward, that the only doors that open are the ones everyone else is crowding around. But those who succeed at the highest level know that progress comes from finding new doors, even building them from scratch. That's the genius of imagination. You're not limited by the circumstances around you, only by the limits you put on your own mind. Napoleon Hill often wrote about two types of imagination: synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination takes the ideas and facts you already know and rearranges them in new ways. Creative imagination is the source of truly original ideas, the spark that can change your life overnight. Most breakthroughs are born from the marriage of both. Maybe you take an old business model and give it a modern twist. Maybe you spot a pattern in nature and apply it to your career. Imagination is where invention and opportunity meet. Think of every great invention, every company that redefined its industry, every artist who set a new standard. They didn't just copy what came before; they used their imagination to see the world a little differently. Steve Jobs didn't invent the computer, but he imagined what personal computing could become. Oprah didn't invent talk shows, but she reimagined how powerful a conversation could be. Ordinary people, fueled by imagination, created extraordinary change. You don't need to wait for lightning to strike. Start flexing your imagination by asking better questions. What frustrates me about the way things are? How could I do this differently? What small experiment could I try today? Sometimes the act of imagining a new possibility is enough to shake you out of a rut, and the more you practice, the more ideas come. The mind is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Don't be afraid of wild ideas. Some of the world's best solutions sounded crazy at first. Remember, every new thing you see, every device, every business, every movement was once just an idea, sketched on the back of a napkin or whispered to a friend. The real tragedy is not having wild ideas, it's never giving them a chance to breathe. Make imagination a daily habit. Daydream on your commute, journal at night, challenge yourself to brainstorm solutions, even for problems that seem out of reach. Over time, you'll notice that obstacles begin to shrink and opportunities start to multiply. Imagination isn't just for children or artists; it's the fuel for anyone who wants to live on their own terms. Dare to use it. Your next breakthrough might be one good idea away. The most successful people don't wait for imagination to strike, they develop it like a muscle. They treat their imagination as a daily practice, not a rare spark. Just as an athlete trains their body, those who master life's opportunities deliberately train their mind to stretch beyond the obvious and see what others miss. If you want to sharpen your imagination, give yourself permission to play with ideas every day. When you're faced with a problem, don't just look for the answer in a textbook or the way it's always been done. Ask, what if? What if I could start over? What if there were no rules? What if I combined two things no one else has ever thought to put together? You don't have to change the world to exercise your imagination. It might start with small things: finding a new shortcut to work, inventing a game with your kids, or improving a task that bores you at the office. Each time you break a routine or look for a new angle, you build the mental flexibility that pays off when bigger challenges appear. Napoleon Hill believed that every problem contains the seed of its own solution. Your imagination is the light that makes those seeds visible. When everyone else sees a wall, you see a window, or you decide to build a door. History is full of ordinary people who looked at a dead end and said, let's try something different. Sometimes that's how a small side project turns into a global business, or a single creative solution saves an entire team from burnout. One powerful way to train your imagination is to spend time with people who think differently than you. Listen to those from other industries, backgrounds, or age groups. Great ideas often come from unexpected places. Sometimes the best inspiration is found outside your comfort zone. When you allow yourself to be curious, to ask questions and really listen, you feed your imagination with fresh fuel. Another trick is to protect your quiet time. In our noisy world, imagination needs space to breathe. Take walks without your phone, sit in silence, or let your mind wander while doing something repetitive. The best ideas often show up when you're not forcing them, when your mind is relaxed and open. Above all, remember, every act of imagination is a step toward freedom. It's the choice to see possibility where others see only obstacles. It's the courage to try, fail, and try again because you believe in something better. The habit of daily imagination builds resilience, creativity, and the ability to reinvent yourself no matter what life throws your way. Keep nurturing your imagination. Give it space, give it questions, and give it time. Before long, you'll find yourself not just solving problems, but creating opportunities and turning your boldest dreams into your new reality. Imagination, when truly unleashed, is the great equalizer in life. It doesn't matter where you started or what obstacles you face. The ability to envision something better gives you the power to rise above your circumstances. The most groundbreaking innovations, the biggest career shifts, and even the deepest personal transformations all begin the same way, with a person willing to imagine that things could be different. Consider the story of Clara, a single mother working long hours just to get by. She spent her commute daydreaming, not of escape, but of solutions. One day, she imagined a better system for scheduling shift workers, a small idea at first, but one she couldn't shake. She sketched her thoughts on scrap paper, talked about them with friends, and gradually, the pieces fell into place. With time, her idea became a digital app now used by businesses across the country. Clara didn't invent technology, she used her imagination to see a better way and the courage to act on it. That's the hidden truth. Most of the world's progress is built on what starts as a simple, persistent question, what if? The difference between dreamers and doers isn't just action, it's the discipline to keep imagining, even when the world is skeptical. The Wright brothers were ridiculed for their flying machine. Walt Disney was told a mouse would never work. Even Edison failed 1,000 times before the light bulb lit up the world. What kept them going was imagination, turned into daily fuel. There's also freedom in using imagination for your own life, not just your career or inventions. When you imagine a better relationship, a healthier body, or a more meaningful routine, you start looking for ways to make that vision real. Instead of being trapped by the way it's always been, you become an architect of change. Even setbacks become raw material for new dreams. Imagination does more than solve problems, it inspires hope. In your darkest moments, the ability to picture a better outcome keeps you moving. When you can't see the next step, your imagination lights a small candle in the darkness, giving you enough faith to try again. That's not wishful thinking, it's the quiet engine behind every comeback story the world has ever told. So never apologize for your daydreams or your bold ideas. Make a habit of jotting them down, sharing them, and testing them in small ways. Some will go nowhere, but a few will open doors you didn't even know existed. Over time, you'll notice you're living in the future you once only imagined a future built, not by luck, but by your willingness to dream and your courage to act. Let your imagination be your daily companion, not a rare guest. Feed it with new experiences, conversations, and questions. Protect it from cynicism and fear. Remember, the world changes because someone, somewhere, kept imagining a better way then decided to build it. Why not you? The more you nurture your imagination, the more you realize how unlimited it truly is. There's no cap on creativity, no finish line for invention. The mind grows sharper and more resourceful every time you ask it for new ideas. Some of those ideas may seem wild, even impossible at first. But that's exactly where the breakthroughs live, in the edge of what you think is possible. Imagination thrives in an environment where you allow yourself to play, to fail, and to try again. You might be surprised how many solutions come, not in serious meetings, but in moments of relaxation or laughter. The world's best ideas are often born while walking, doodling, talking with friends, or letting your thoughts drift. The challenge is to trust your mind, to let it wander, and to catch the sparks as they fly. Remember, your imagination is not just a source of entertainment, it's a practical tool. Every time you face a challenge, big or small, practice turning the problem around in your mind. Instead of asking, "Why won't this work?" start asking, "How could this work if nothing stood in my way?" This tiny shift changes everything. Obstacles start to look like puzzles, and puzzles invite solutions. Take inspiration from people who made a habit of imaginative thinking. Consider the small-town mechanic who, frustrated by slow deliveries, pictured a new way to organize his parts shop. His system was so effective that other businesses asked to learn it, and soon he was consulting across the region. Or the teacher who imagined lessons that felt more like adventures than lectures suddenly. Students who once dreaded school came alive with curiosity. When you bring imagination into your daily routine, you build flexibility and resilience. Life will always throw unexpected changes your way. With a strong imagination, you see opportunities where others only see dead ends. You become someone who can pivot, adapt, and thrive no matter what. Don't worry if your first ideas aren't earth-shattering. Many of the world's best inventions started out clumsy, awkward, or misunderstood. The important thing is to keep going, to keep imagining, and to trust the process. Some of your ideas will be stepping stones to bigger things. Each attempt, even the ones that fail, makes your mind sharper and your vision broader. Finally, treat your imagination with respect. Give it time, give it freedom, and give it encouragement. Speak kindly to yourself. When an idea falls flat, failure is just proof you're still willing to dream. In a world that often rewards conformity, your imagination is your greatest act of rebellion and your greatest asset for building a life on your own terms. Let yourself imagine boldly, consistently, and with joy. That's the habit that turns ordinary days into turning points and simple lives into extraordinary adventures. One of the greatest discoveries you'll make is that imagination isn't a rare lightning bolt, it's a resource you can tap into every single day, if you choose. The more you feed it, the more it grows. You begin to see possibilities where before you saw only routine. Life starts to feel less like a set of instructions and more like a canvas waiting for your colors. Imagination does more than help you invent products or start businesses. It transforms the way you approach problems, relationships, even your own self-image. When you make it a habit to ask, what else could this be? You unlock not just creative solutions, but also resilience and optimism. Obstacles become invitations, failures become experiments, and the impossible becomes simply unexplored. It's easy to let the world make your mind small. Every day, we're told what's realistic, what's safe, what we should settle for. But the people who move the world, the ones whose lives we admire, are the ones who didn't accept those limits. They let their imagination outrun their fear, and then worked to bring that vision into reality. Every artist, inventor, and trailblazer starts with a willingness to look foolish in the eyes of the cautious. So, how do you keep your imagination alive when the world tries to tame it? Start by giving yourself permission to dream. Block out a few minutes every day for impossible thinking. Imagine a solution to a problem nobody's asked yet. Picture yourself succeeding at something you've never tried. Daydream about your perfect day, your dream career, the life you want to lead. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. Notice, too, how imagination influences your energy. When you feel stuck or drained, it's often because your mind is running the same old tracks, recycling the same ideas. A few minutes of bold, playful imagination can break that pattern and inject you with fresh enthusiasm. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room suddenly, everything feels possible again. Let your imagination spill into every area of life. Bring new ideas to your work, your home, your relationships. When others complain about a problem, offer a creative twist. When you feel bored, invent a new way to see the ordinary. Over time, people will begin to see you differently as a source of ideas, inspiration, even leadership. But perhaps the greatest gift of imagination is the way it reconnects you with hope. No matter how many times you've failed, no matter how many disappointments you've faced, your imagination remains untouched. It's the part of you that refuses to believe today's limits are tomorrow's destiny. When you make it a daily habit, you'll find yourself living not just with more creativity, but with more courage, joy, and purpose. So, keep that spark alive, nurture it, protect it, and above all, use it. The world needs more people who dare to imagine and then have the grit to turn those dreams into reality. Imagination, when you let it guide you, slowly shifts your reality from the inside out. You start to recognize that your current circumstances are not the final chapter, but just a single scene in a much larger story. Every great accomplishment, every personal transformation, began with someone daring to picture a different ending, someone who trusted that what they saw in their mind could eventually become real. This power isn't reserved for inventors or dreamers with big platforms. It's for anyone willing to look at a challenge and ask, what if I tried something new? Imagination invites you to break routines, to color outside the lines, and to test what's possible instead of simply repeating what's been done before. Even small acts of creativity, trying a new recipe, rearranging your living space, starting a conversation with a stranger begin to rewire your brain for boldness and possibility. You'll notice that the more you flex your imaginative muscles, the more resilient you become in the face of setbacks. When plans fall apart, you don't freeze or give up. Instead, your mind instinctively searches for another way, another angle, another door. Problems become puzzles, and puzzles become opportunities to invent, adapt, and grow. You stop seeing the world as a fixed reality and start seeing it as something you can shape. Imagination also changes the quality of your relationships. You become more empathetic, more willing to see things from another's perspective. You can imagine what someone else feels, what they hope for, what might help them. This habit of putting yourself in their shoes is the birthplace of understanding and genuine connection. In your career or business, imagination sets you apart. It's easy to do what's always been done, but the real breakthroughs, the ideas that get noticed, the solutions that create value come from those willing to ask, what if there's a better way? This doesn't mean every idea will be a winner. Some will flop, some will be ahead of their time, but every attempt sharpens your creative instincts and deepens your confidence. So keep fueling your imagination with new experiences. Read widely, travel when you can, listen to people outside your circle, expose yourself to art, science, music, and different ways of thinking. Each new input becomes a spark for your next great idea. And never let the cynics or the skeptics drown out your inner voice. Remember, the greatest achievements in history were once dismissed as impossible. Your imagination is your passport to new worlds, your blueprint for a life uniquely your own. Use it daily, protect it fiercely, and trust that every vision you dare to hold is a seed with the power to change not just your life, but the world around you. If there's one truth that stands above all others, it's this. Imagination is the first and greatest freedom. Long before you change your circumstances, you must first change your vision. No matter what obstacles you face, no matter how fixed the world may seem, you always have the power to close your eyes and picture something new. That act alone is a declaration of independence, proof that your spirit is not limited by your present reality. Imagination gives you the courage to dream big, but it also gives you the humility to start small. It whispers, why not you? When the world says, be realistic, it keeps you reaching when others have settled. In your quiet moments, when you allow yourself to dream without judgment, you find the spark that makes all progress possible. Even if you're the only one who believes in your idea, that belief is the fuel you need to begin. The habit of imagination also makes you adaptable in ways that can't be measured. Life changes fast, and the people who thrive are the ones who can reinvent themselves. When you regularly picture new outcomes, you don't fear failure, you expect it, and you're ready to pivot, to try again, to use what you've learned in service of a better plan. Obstacles become invitations to imagine new solutions, and setbacks become the start of a different adventure. Let's not forget the deep joy that comes from living creatively. It's easy to go through life on autopilot, repeating the same routines, thinking the same thoughts, following the same patterns. But when you commit to imagination as a daily habit, you wake up to the richness of possibility. The world seems bigger, brighter, more alive. You see beauty in the ordinary, stories in the mundane, opportunity in every challenge. The legacy of those who master their imagination is never just personal success. It's inspiration. Your willingness to dream, to create, to take a risk gives others permission to do the same. Children learn by watching adults dare to try new things. Teams grow stronger when someone offers a fresh perspective. Communities transform when enough people imagine a better way, then roll up their sleeves to make it happen. So never doubt the value of your own ideas. Don't wait for the world to invite you to imagine, more make it your daily declaration. Let your mind wander, build, play, and explore. In a world obsessed with the predictable, be the one who brings a spark of wonder and possibility. In the end, the habit of imagination is the habit of freedom. Every day you exercise it, you strengthen your power to change not just your story, but the story of everyone your life touches. As we bring this chapter to a close, remember this. Your imagination is the engine that drives every achievement, every breakthrough, every leap of faith you'll ever make. It's the quiet companion that walks with you through doubt, lifts you over fear, and hands you the blueprint for a life beyond your wildest expectations. The world may celebrate results, but every result is born in the workshop of the mind shaped, sharpened, and set in motion by a single daring act of imagination. Don't wait for permission to dream. The most extraordinary lives are built by ordinary people who refuse to let their vision be limited by circumstance, education, or the opinions of others. Every innovation, every business, every work of art or moment of genius began with a private vision, a spark no one else could see. The difference between the life you have and the life you want is found in your willingness to imagine it, believe in it, and act on it. Imagination is more than a gift, it's a responsibility. The world needs your vision, your ideas, your courage to see what's possible and bring it into being. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your inner voice. Nurture your imagination, give it space, give it time, and give it a reason to show up every single day. If you ever feel lost, stuck, or uncertain, turn inward and let your imagination lead you. Picture the solution before you see it in real life. Build the outcome in your mind before you build it in the world. Trust that every great journey starts with a single what if. So go ahead, dare to imagine boldly. Be the person who brings new colors to gray places, who turns problems into projects, who makes the impossible possible simply by refusing to stop dreaming. Let your imagination be the source of your strength, your creativity, your joy, and your legacy. Because in the end, it's not just about what you accomplish, it's about what you inspire in others. The habit of imagination, practiced daily, is the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world. Start today. Dream big. Build even bigger. The future you want is waiting. Imagine it into existence.